A cold winter's evening was drawing to an end on the island of Sodor. It was the last Sunday before Christmas. The engines of Sodor were naturally busy, like every other holiday. With a busy holiday came an even busier work for maintenance on the line. Engines are required to carry around snowplows to clear the snow. In times during the holiday seasons, efficiency was needed.
Oh, you have got to be pulling my tender.
What's wrong, Gordon?
Once it starts snowing in the evening, there'll be much snow to clear tomorrow.
Oh, how dreadful!
Perfect. More delightful snow to worry about.
Henry, the big green engine, enjoys the holiday season, but not the snow. He finds his snowplow very uncomfortable to wear. His dislike of the snow often leads him to using up all of his sand, causing him to have his wheels slip without notice.
This weather's such a bother. I have no clue why everyone likes it. They just don't know better.
I find the snow peaceful if you ask me, and ploughing the snow isn't that much trouble either.
That's so? Why does everyone find it festive?
I beg your pardon?
Festive. Every passenger who I've transported finds the snow cozy and Christmassy. All of it is just...
silly, soft stuff?
Exactly. Silly, soft stuff. Has nothing to do with Christmas. I mean, it doesn't snow all over the world.
It doesn't?
No, Percy, it doesn't. All this talk about snow while it's snowing is ruining the mood.
Do you think Henry's doing alright?
Well, I mean, I don't like snow. But not to the point where I dislike it that much.
It's not the first time. He has something to complain about Christmas every year.
What do you mean?
Don't you remember last year? He complained about passengers wasting their time on buying Christmas gifts, and the year before he complained about Christmas carols.
Oh. I've never really noticed.
Then what do you think all of this means?
Toby thought for a minute. He had always appreciated the festive seasons, as it gives meaning for everyone to come together. Could it be that Henry doesn't know the full meaning of Christmas? It then dawned on him.
I think I know why.
Good. I could finally get away from this weather.
You and me both, Henry. God help Donald and Douglas tomorrow morning.
I've got nothing to complain. At least I won't be having a snowplow on me.
Complimenting the Caledonian twins' work, I see. That's new.
Keep it up like that, James, and I bet you'll be on the top of Santa's nice list in no time.
What? You still believe in that make-believe figure?
Make-believe? What does that mean?
Oh, never you mind about it.
Has anyone seen Thomas?
Good evening, chaps. Thomas is covering my work for tomorrow on the branch line, and since I knew there'd be a vacant berth at Tidmouth, I've decided to join you lot for the night. Still grumpy about the weather?
Grumpy? I'm not grumpy. I'm tired of it all.
I mean, you have been complaining an awful lot about it. It kind of ruins the spirit.
Again with the spirits. Utter nonsense.
Well, you did complain about the Christmas tree once when we had one here a few Christmases ago.
You did also complain about having to wear a Christmas hat for a photo shoot.
Yeah, I complain about those. They're all excessive nonsense. What of it?
Henry, do you even know why you were this excessive?
What do you mean?
Let me put it this way. Do you know fully why we're celebrating this holiday?
Well, for the birth of Christ himself, what else?
So does everyone celebrate for Christ all over the world?
Well, there's nothing else about it.
Perhaps that's why you find all these activities and traits about Christmas excessive. Christmas is for everyone, and while its core roots connect to religion, it's developed into something everyone can celebrate and enjoy.
How?
Do you know who Neil is?
Neil?
Neil was an engine who worked on the Sodor and Mainland Railway decades ago. The old man near Wellsworth used to work on that railway with a bunch of these capitalist box-like tank engines.
But, from what I've heard...
Yes, Gordon. He and his class got all scrapped after the railway went into bankruptcy.
It's quite unfortunate to hear that, but why mention him? How does some old engine who we know very little of have anything to do with the true meaning of Christmas?
Many years ago, I had a driver who used to operate Neil's class of engines. As a matter of fact, Neil was the last engine of his class he ever operated. He told me this one story during the last Christmas on the Sodor and Mainland Railway. The beginning of a new century boomed the world, but very little for the Sodor and Mainland Railway. The company was in financial ruins, spent all on the railway with little interest from the mainland. It only operated with 3 engines, Clive, Matthew and Neil. All 3 of them were brothers, and were enjoying the work they had gotten. As they were getting financially poorer and poorer, the company's views of their engines went from useful and important to expendable. And so, Clive and Matthew were both sold for scrap, leaving Neil the only engine remaining. One cold winter's night in December, it was announced by the company that they'd filed for bankruptcy and that they would be taking action into the following year. The winter seasons made it harder and harder for work to be completed, and oftentimes Neil had to stay in the sheds because of the amount of snow that had fallen, making it all the more difficult for work to progress. One morning, the snow had cleared along the tracks. Neil was scheduled to pull one passenger train late in the afternoon. When his driver arrived, he could tell something was wrong. The driver said that Neil looked sadder than usual on that day, but he understood why though. That passenger train was going to be the last train Neil would ever pull before being retired, and eventually scrapped.
Come along, old boy. We still have work to do.
What is the point? They're going to scrap me if I don't work, and even if I do it, they'll still scrap me either way. It doesn't matter anymore.
Neil, perhaps putting this into perspective should convince you. We're the fastest connection between here and Ballyhoo. It is 4 days before Christmas Eve, and there are families waiting to be united by the mainland. Perhaps doing this effort isn't for the company, but for the people coming home and returning to their families.
Oh, like whom? These island folks seem happy here to me.
Not just families waiting from the towns along the line, but company workers who have families waiting at home on the mainland.
The driver said that Neil looked pensive.
Even if I should, I can't. The lines aren't maintained that well. I'll deplete my sandbox before we even reach Croven's Gate. The weather is also unpredictable.
If we're efficient and conservative, we'll have the time to do so.
Neil eventually accepted the work and set off late in the afternoon after he had finished shunting. He waited by Kirk Ronin and left once everyone was aboard. The winter weather was unpredictable, and by the time evening struck, Neil was already almost out of sand and was nowhere near Croven's Gate.
If I don't make it to Croven's Gate, I won't be able to refill my sandbox in time and make it to Ballyhoo.
So, Neil's driver shut off his sandbox and only hoped for the best. It wasn't long before Neil began feeling his wheels slip. Soon enough, Neil had decelerated. The driver didn't take any more chances and opened his sandbox. That last chance had Neil run out of sand and eventually stopped.
I knew this would happen. I just knew it. We'll never make it to the next station on time.
Things had just gotten worse as it had started to snow.
Bugger all!
Bugger indeed.
Passengers climbed out of the coaches and wondered why they had stopped. As you all could have expected, they weren't pleased with the news.
We'll be late to catch our connecting train at Barrow-in-Furness.
If I miss that train, my 2 days' travel will become 5. I'll miss Christmas!
We understand your old man. Please, calm down.
What can we do to get this train running?
I don't have enough sand to make it to the next station.
Well, are there any substitutes to sand then?
Fine gravel should do the trick. I could even try grinding up some coal.
Then we'll do just that.
The passengers quickly searched the field for what they could find. Sam went to the forest as well and brought back hats full of gravel. Evening almost came to an end and Neil was already far behind schedule.
All aboard!
The driver opened Neil's sandbox and slowly but surely, Neil's motion went from slipping to pushing forward. The driver said that the passengers cheered and cheered. They reached Croven's Gate in a matter of time. Everything looked bright ahead before the news was delivered.
The engines were intrigued over Toby's story.
What was the news?
Henry said eagerly. Toby's frown widened.
The news that was delivered was caused by the unpredictable weather I had mentioned.
You are unbelievable! Crossing the bloody line!
What do you mean by that? Do you know why we're all traveling back?
I understand everyone's frustration and anger. I have children and a wife at home myself. Will know that feeling too, but I'm afraid the condition of the weather cannot permit safe travels. I am sorry, everyone.
All of that for nothing.
The driver really wanted to cheer Neil up, but this was the first time ever that he didn't know how. Neil's last passenger train was cut short. His retirement had come early.
I wish I could have told him how sorry I was.
Sorry about what? About something that we couldn't have prevented? There's nothing about...
That still makes me partially guilty. There's nothing you can do to make any of this better. I'll be oiled and locked up in this blasted shed, to only be taken out and torn into pieces, all knowing how I failed to pull one last train. I'm a failure, plain and simple.
Failure?
A familiar voice had entered the shed, taking Neil and his driver and fireman. It was the passengers. They had all arrived in Neil's shed. The driver said Neil was overwhelmed at that moment.
What? What are you all doing here?
Since we won't be able to make it to our families on time, and knowing that you'll be retired tomorrow morning...
We decided to spend this night celebrating an early Christmas with you.
But all of you will miss your train because of me. I don't deserve this.
You do deserve it.
You were determined to get us to our destination, knowing fully well of the possible consequences.
So take this celebration as a thank you from us.
Neil and his crew couldn't decline the offer. From what the driver could remember, they'd set up a small fire for warmth and a Christmas tree in the corner. They all chatted about their families, what they'll do after the railway closes. Some even sharing stories. Neil had a lot of stories to tell too, according to the driver. And by the time midnight struck, the driver decided to sing some carols. One that the driver described to be a favourite of Neil's.
Silent night, holy night, all is calm, all is bright, round yon virgin mother and child. Holy infant, so tender and mild, sleep in heavenly peace, sleep in heavenly peace.
For the first time since he had lost his brothers, Neil didn't feel so alone anymore. The next morning, Neil was retired from service. And after that, he was scrapped around the time the railway had officially closed.
The engines fell silent. The story had impacted them hard. Henry was affected the most.
Now you see, Henry, Christmas holds a deep meaning for everyone.
It matters not why the holiday is celebrated, but to use the time to gather with your close ones and to appreciate them for being there.
This story that I've been told means a lot to me as well. During the closure of my railway, I thought I would never be out working again, or even see my dear Henrietta. I relate to what Neil went through, and I'm glad he wasn't alone on his last day.
Through giving gifts.
Singing some carols. Reuniting with your loved ones.
It is all a part of the holiday. All of it.
Henry felt warmth within him. The story of Neil's final journey had made him realise how important Christmas was. And as morning had drawn, he began ignoring the fuss about everything everyone does during the holidays. He even stopped complaining about the snow.
Merry Christmas, sir.
Oh, Merry Christmas to you too, Henry.
I don't know what you did, but, well, Henry's in a better mood than before. Did you tell him of that story, eh? I really wished I was there for Neil.
At least his final tale shows everyone how important this holiday is, which is why we'll forever hope no one will ever truly forget about Neil.
Silence, the bright afterglow. Now there's a surprise over, what do you know? It's snowing. Look, it's snowing. Little Jack Frost has been busy last night. The island of Sodor is a blanket of white, 'cause it's snowing. Yes, it's snowing. Finds his way through the snow, whistle blowing. Yes, it's snowing. It's a beautiful world, it's a lovely day. Cherish this moment, remember this day, 'cause it's snowing. Yes, it's snowing.
Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays, everyone.